Let's begin with a story about a steel truss joint, a steel fabricator, and a Ph.D. researcher. Here's our steel truss joint, the kind you'd see walking through the airport or taking in a game at the stadium. To the structural designer, this joint is a thing of beauty. It's a work of art. Now, let's meet the steel fabricator who has to fabricate this joint. He's not looking that impressed with this joint. Because once again, he has received a design that does not take into consideration the challenges of fabrication. Enter our not-so-dashing Ph.D. researcher, me. 18 years ago, all blurry-eyed, intent on bridging this gap in understanding, I left the hallowed confines of the University of Leeds and went to a steel fabrication plant in Bolton, England, where I got to learn the steel fabricators' language, understand their point of view, and translate it into terms that would resonate with the structural designer. I captured the heuristics, the rules of thumb, that informed their perspective on any given design, and I codified these in computer models. I used these models to create a decision support system that provided feedback to the designers as they drafted their designs on how fabricators would react and why. Why do I tell you this story? Because I know somebody's wondering. Because it embodies this question of tone. What tone did I need to adopt in order to successfully engage with the steel fabricator? What tone did my decision support system need to strike in order to be well received by the structural designer? And ironically, how come I was spending all this time innovating with technology to make it do what we as humans do so naturally, which is to set tone? Indeed, why does tone even matter? Tone reflects our intent, our frame of mind, emotion or reaction to any given situation. Tone speaks directly to what we experience. Tone is instinctive, but setting the right tone takes work. As a leader of a large, geographically and culturally diverse software development organization, I can attest to the fact that across regions, teams develop their own culture. And we must all be aware that as we use our tone, depending upon where we are, that tone can equally inspire and guide, or disrupt and hurt. And tone can so easily have unintended consequences. I have found that you will not recognize the power of your tone until one evening you're walking the corridors and find a member of your team hard at work on a task you never intended to give. Why? Because the tone of your side comment was interpreted as direction. And yeah, I've been guilty of making that happen too. But how does tone translate in a world full of digital interactions? Well, to explore that, let's take the text message. When text messaging started, we could all send ourselves simple questions like this. In this case, a simple question that implies a need to know, but plain and devoid of emotion. So with the state of the art at the time, we tried to imbue tone by leveraging well-established, low-tech punctuation. Clearly, we can now see there's some excitement here. But still seeking to imbue this medium with even more tone, we all soon fell in love with the acronym, resulting in this. Feel free to substitute your own favorite three-letter acronym there. As technologists, we knew we could do better. And so with innovations in graphics devices and networks, we got the game changer, the emoticon. The emoticon changed everything. Now we could really set tone, further qualifying our messages. Indeed, we could do away with words altogether. That one to my wife was in the audience, by the way. Or we could eliminate the alphabet altogether That one from a friend of mine who's a retired tank army commander. It means onwards, against all obstacles in your way. Organizations have to consider how to set tone constantly, both internally with their employees and externally with their clients, customers, and consumers. As a technologist, I focus on how I leverage technology to enable my clients to understand who they're engaging with and set the right tone as they engage. Current state of the art allows us to capture user interactions from various channels like mobile apps or websites, and leveraging analytics, gain insights into key behavioral data so that we're able to answer questions such as how many people looked at a page, what seemed to be of most interest, what did they do next, did they have any adverse experiences. Location analytics, both indoor and outdoor, is emerging as a key area of innovation. Leveraging advances in smartphones and indoor sensors, we're now able to further enrich our understanding of customer behavior. Gleaning insights from data such as dwell time, how long was an individual stood in front of a store display, or physical path analysis, what path was taken between departments or locations. Weaving together all this data to discern actual customer journeys will underpin further innovation. Because it's important to remember that for the individual, these distinct touchpoints with an organization are often part of a continuous experience as they research, discover, acquire, and then use a particular product or service. But for all these advances, we still know so little about the true state of the individual at the time of interaction, because the data provides little to no emotional context. How might we gain context so that we're better able to set the right tone? Looking ahead, I think the combination of physiological and interaction data might provide an answer. Imagine using a mobile app to call a car service, as I'm sure some of us did today. But this particular app can read your physiological data as you touch the phone. The app learns that your blood sugar is running low, and the driver turns up with a healthy snack. Once again, feel free to substitute your own preference in that section. Now, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge that there are real issues for us to work through as we advance technology with regards data capture, privacy protection, and ensuring clear and appropriate opt-in choices for users. But the point is, with a deeper understanding, we are able to engage much more valuably with our customers and deliver a better and more personalized service. In fact, I believe the future of engagement can be defined with just one word: personalization. And for organizations, differentiation will center on striking the right level of intimacy with their target audience and delivering the right personalized experience. Today, we already use machine learning to infer intent and present something approaching a personalized offer or content. For example, if an individual shows significant interest by visiting the same product page, say, 5 times in an hour, we can, on the next visit, present content that provides more insights into that product's use. Or perhaps a discount offer that tips the scales in favor of a purchase decision. We can also customize experiences, leveraging analytics to recognize past behavior and modify the ongoing experience accordingly. However, in our drive for increasing levels of personalization, we must remember that personalization needs not only to be relevant, but also to occur in context, often thought of as in real time. But when I say in real time, I'm not suggesting some particular time frame, like say 20 milliseconds, but that rather things need to occur in the moment that matters. Indeed, I prefer the phrase in the right time. It is simply not a good idea to congratulate me on my airline seat upgrade on a flight that's just been canceled. And that's happened to some of us, I'm sure. So technological evolution must capture these tonal connections, attributes, and rules that allow us to identify the right time. The very nature of this problem space pushes the boundaries of traditional approaches, but lends itself quite well to cognitive computing systems. Systems that are able to tease out and infer causal relationships and that get better over time as they learn by experience, which interestingly enough is the same way that we as humans do. In an ever-evolving digital world, awash with increasingly complex digital interactions, this question of tone permeates everything that we as technologists do and will shape technological innovations for decades to come. Why? Because at its core, it drives us, it pushes us to attempt to codify, to render in code, one of the deepest, most elemental aspects of being human: tone. Thank you.